Hello and a warm welcome to a very special edition of Battle Cry that comes to you from an altitude of close to 10,000 feet. I'm Gaurav Sawant. The temperature is about -15 where we are at this point of time. It's snowing, but we have our braves guarding our borders and ensuring that the roads to those borders are kept clear despite the snowfall against all odds. During the course of the next half hour, we will tell you about the big Atmanirbhar push in defense and made in India weapons that are keeping India first and safe. It's now rightfully accepted in India to be a major defense power. You need to be a manufacturer and exporter of weapons. Let's now talk about Indian Army placing its trust in the hunter-killer Arjun main battle tank. An order is being placed to procure an additional 118 Arjun MBTs. This is different from the 124 that the Indian Army already has. Of course, the T-90 Bhishma main battle tank is a breed apart. But once you start using these tanks, the Arjuns, you keep improving on it, and the next model will always be better than the existing one. That's exactly what India is doing, learning, improving and then manufacturing them further.
It's a big rebirth for India's indigenous Arjun main battle tank. First of 118 new hunter-killer Arjun tanks of an improved variety will be acquired as part of an 8,380 crore rupee deal. These new and improved Arjun tanks will add to 124 baseline Arjun tanks already in service with the Indian Army. The 60-ton tanks are already deployed in the western deserts. Prime Minister Narendra Modi recently spoke of how tanks made in Chennai will be protecting the northern borders.
I'm proud to dedicate to the country one more warrior to protect our frontiers. I'm proud to hand over the indigenously designed and manufactured main battle tank Arjun Mark 1A. A tank made in Tamil Nadu will be used in our northern border to keep the nation safe.
The Arjun Mark 1A is said to be a major improvement on the first lot of Arjun main battle tanks. With a 120mm main gun, all-weather capability, computerized fire control system, the ability to acquire targets on the move, a higher first-round kill capability and penetration cum blast ammunition, in addition to several other improvements.
The production intent will be placed on heavy vehicles factory Avadi, that is also located in Avadi only, and they will be manufacturing within the first tanks may come out 3 years from the date of placement of intent. So this will be able to see up to 5 kilometers easily, and whatever ammunition you have fired from the gun, it will be having a range of around 2 kilometers. So that means any tank in 2 kilometers, it can engage and kill it.
Developed at the Combat Vehicles Research and Development Establishment in Chennai, the Arjun Mark 1A is heavier than the T-90 Bhishma and T-72 already in service. The Army is also hunting for light tanks for high-altitude battlefields of eastern Ladakh. The Ministry of Defence has also cleared the procurement of armoured fighting vehicles for an additional 5,000 crore rupees for speedy mobilization of troops in the high-altitude deserts and plains of Ladakh. With Pramod Madhav in Chennai, Bureau Report, India Today.
And India Today's executive editor Shiv Arur became the first Indian journalist to drive an Arjun main battle tank at the Armament and Weapons Establishment at Avadi in Chennai. Take a look at this report about Shiv taking the Arjun to its limits.
The Arjun is roaring in a week when the government has cleared decks for a crucial deal for 118 more of these tanks. Battle Cry takes you back nearly 14 years when the Arjun main battle tank was still fighting for acceptance with the Indian Army. In 2007, India Today's Shiv Arur became the first journalist invited to test the Arjun through its paces. Seen here on a test range outside Chennai, where the tank is developed and built, India Today's reporter was allowed to commandeer the tank solo. In the nearly decade and a half since we encountered the Arjun, a mere 124 of these heavy tanks have so far been ordered and inducted by the Indian Army. Fresh upcoming deal will add only 118 more to the tally. A measly 242 tanks, a fraction of the number envisaged by this decades-old program. But on the test range, to the non-military eyes of a visiting journalist, the Arjun was a symbol of promise at the time, of what Atmanirbhar Bharat could really be. The saga of the Arjun is unlikely to go very much further than the 118 tanks that will be freshly ordered. And that will be a sad commentary on a once prestigious program, reflected in the pride of the team that lovingly built this tank.
The line of actual control in eastern Ladakh is about 832 kilometers long, all the way from Karakoram in the north through DBO, Depsang, Pangong So, Chumar, Demchok in the south of Ladakh. And it's a high altitude mountain desert, so you need to be able to quickly deploy your forces. You've heard of the American Ghost Brigade and their silent and quick deployment. Indian Army, at the height of the standoff in Ladakh, tested the M4 armored vehicle. Now this is a very interesting automobile that will help quick silent deployment, also provide protection to our forces against a landmine explosion. India Today reports on how this vehicle, made in India, could truly prove to be a game changer in Ladakh.
The Striker, the US Army's favored armored vehicle, working silently without the enemy getting an inkling of a threat. It carries the US Army's Ghost Warriors, and it was seen in action right here on Indian soil during the recent Indo-US Army exercise Yudh Abhyas. Zipping across the Thar Desert in the Mahajan field firing range in Rajasthan. Now the Indian Army will soon have similar made-in-India carriers for its troops. The armored vehicles will allow troops to get as close to the enemy positions as possible. Stealth ensures secrecy in operations and adds to the surprise element. The army does not want to give out the exact numbers of the vehicles that will soon be in action, but the order for the new Kalyani M4 of South African origin is worth nearly 178 crore rupees. Modelled on the US Army's Ghost Brigade that participated in operations in Iraq and Afghanistan, the Indian M4 armoured vehicle was tested in Ladakh during the standoff with China. The Ghost Brigade, with its Striker armoured vehicles, got its name back in 2003 in Iraq. Able to carry out operations silently, as the vehicles carry troops close to their targets, almost silently without the enemy getting a whiff.
We are a highly capable and multifunctional maneuver brigade with a number of different enabling forces. We have, of course, here with us in India, 2-3 Infantry Battalion, one of our maneuver battalions with the Striker Infantry Carrier Vehicle. But at the same time, our broader brigade has a number of enabling forces, including field artillery, logistics, engineering, and cavalry and reconnaissance as well.
It was the ongoing standoff with China in Ladakh that prompted the army to place orders for the armoured vehicles manufactured by Indian company Bharat Forge of the Kalyani Group under license from a South African company. The wheeled armoured vehicles are sturdy and capable of carrying 10 to 12 troops. Quick mobilization in harsh terrains like Ladakh makes them an asset for the Indian Army. The tests were carried out in Ladakh in August last year. The new armoured vehicles will not only ensure quick mobilization, but also ensure the safety of troops. With the ability to withstand explosive of up to 50 kilograms, no longer will the Indian Army have to confront superior vehicles of the Chinese like they did in Pangong last year. This time the Indian Army will have its own capable advanced wheels on hostile territory. With Abhishek Bhalla and Gaurav Sawant in Ladakh, Bureau Report, India Today.
You'd recall on the south bank of Pangong So, you had Indian and Chinese tanks barely 100 meters from each other, locked and loaded. Now, to deter an expansionist force, India is focusing on the procurement of Helena and Dhruvastra. So what are Helena and Dhruvastra? Take a look at this report as we tell you about the big Atmanirbhar push in anti-tank guided missiles that India so desperately needs, and why this Make in India story promises to be a game changer.
The tank killer is here. Helena. Every enemy tank commanders was say namaste to our homegrown anti-tank guided missile, which is ready for induction. The missile, called Helena for the army and Dhruvastra for the air force, is described as one of the most advanced anti-tank weapons in the world and has just seen a blaze of combat tests, clearing it for operational services. In eastern Ladakh, while tanks and armored personnel carriers have moved back from their frontline deployment, the near-war situation across 800 kilometers of frontline over 10 months has amplified the significance of helicopter-launched tank killer weaponry. And Helena fits the bill. It can take down enemy tank beyond its range by using an advanced fire and forget mode. It's a third-generation anti-tank guided missile mounted on armed Rudra helicopters. The missile has range of 7 kilometers and has proven its efficacy in day and night capabilities. The missile can engage targets both in direct hit mode as well as the top attack mode. The Indian Army has been trying for years to procure an anti-tank helicopter-launched missile, including attempts to contract the Israeli Spike, German Pars 3, but without success. But where foreign vendors have lost out, Indian defense has gained. The Helena, designed and developed indigenously by DRDO, is clearly adding to the India's Atmanirbhar roar, which is belting out one after another deadly machines of war. You can be sure that both Pakistan and China have taken note. Bureau Report, India Today.
In combat, they say the gun matters, but the man behind the gun matters even more. So when the Chinese disengage at the line of actual control, or when Pakistan talks about ceasefire and peace at the line of control, the gun matters. But the man behind the gun, the Indian soldier, matters even more. It's the grit, determination and sheer valor of the Indian soldier that the adversaries have finally realized and conceded they cannot change the line of control or line of actual control unilaterally by force. And let me talk about that brave young army captain of the 16th Battalion of the Bihar Regiment from Senapati in Manipur, Captain Soiba. The steely determination in his eyes, his grit, his valor, and the valor of the Indian Army soldiers of the Bihar Regiment, of the artillery regiment that was deployed there, of signals, of engineers, all the soldiers who were there, who ensured that an expansionist power was made to retreat at Galwan.
China's recent propaganda on the Galwan clash in Ladakh, after underplaying its casualty numbers, it tried to paint India as the aggressor with this propaganda video. Rapidly going viral last week, there was one part of this footage that has put a face to the Indian valor. This part of the video capturing the bravery of young Indian Army officer Captain Soiba Maningba Rangname of the 16th Bihar Regiment. With these images exploding online and thanks to Chinese propaganda, Captain Maningba has become the face of those who fought at Galwan and survived to tell the tale. In fact, a grab of the Chinese propaganda video made its way to a banner that was on display when Manipur Chief Minister N. Biren Singh invited and honoured the young Indian Army officer at his official residence today.
Once again, I congratulate you and state as a whole honour your courageous activities which you shown against the enemy.
China had hoped the video would push a narrative of Indian aggression and hostility. But these images confirm that the real narrative that the video pushed is the truth. That fearless Indian Army men pushed back the Chinese and dealt with them on their turf in the face of numerical odds, treacherous terrain and an insidious adversary. Captain Maningba was decorated with a mention in dispatches for his valour at Galwan in June last year. A young officer, along with several others, continues to serve far from the limelight. Bureau Report, India.
Well, that is all we have time for on this special edition from Battle Cry. The snowfall has intensified, but we have our braves who are guarding our borders, keeping India safe. We will continue to report from ground zero, but that is all I have time for on this special broadcast. Many thanks for watching. News and updates continue on India Today. Stay with us.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.